The World Health Organization, or WHO, recently held its World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is named its incoming Director General.
Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is the first African to be named in this position. He has a track record of successful initiatives that have brought progress to Ethiopia's health system and of securing funding for critical health and development programs. He has served as Ethiopia's Ministers of Foreign Affairs and of Health and has also been the chair of the board of various organizations such as the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. During his campaign, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus highlighted the value for WHO to have a leader who knows the real situation on the ground, having worked in one of the world's toughest environments. He begins his 5-year term as WHO's Director General in July 2017, at a time when the WHO faces criticism over its slow response to the Ebola epidemic in West Africa in 2013 till 2016.
History will judge whether the new emergencies program has given the world a stronger level of protection. The world is better prepared, but not nearly well enough.
To the challenges the WHO is and will be facing, here is what Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has to say.
All roads lead to universal health coverage. This will be my central priority. At present, only about half of the world's people have access to health care without impoverishment. This needs to improve dramatically. And what I promise to you and to the whole world, I will listen first.
As the two-day G7 summit wraps up, U.S. President Donald Trump refuses to endorse a global climate change accord, saying he needs more time to decide.
As the two-day G summit wraps up, U.S. President Donald Trump refuses to endorse a global climate change accord, saying he needs more time to decide. The president, who has previously called global warming a hoax, came under concerted pressure from the other leaders to honor the 2015 Paris Agreement on curbing carbon emissions. His apparent reluctance to embrace the first ever legally binding global climate deal that was signed by 195 countries clearly annoyed German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The summit of G7 wealthy nations pitted Trump against the leaders of Germany, France, Britain, Italy, Canada, and Japan on several issues, with European diplomats frustrated at having to revisit questions they had hoped were long settled. However, diplomats stressed there was broad agreement on an array of foreign policy problems, including the renewal of a threat to slap further economic sanctions on Russia if its interference in neighboring Ukraine demanded it. Disappointment over the Paris Agreement was countered by relief when Trump agreed on Saturday to language in the final G7 communique that pledged to fight all forms of protectionism and committed to rules-based international trade system, contrary to what he said during his election campaign, threatening unilateral tariffs on Mexican and Chinese goods, and said he would quit the North American Free Trade Agreement unless it was renegotiated to his liking. They were able to keep the ban on protectionism from previous G7 statements, but included a statement Saturday that they will stand firm against all unfair trade practices. As what Italian Prime Minister Paolo Gentiloni announced, that the G7 member states are satisfied, though there are dissentment on some issues. Putting a positive spin on it, French President Emmanuel Macron said he was sure Trump, who he praised as pragmatist, would back the deal, having listened to his G7 counterparts. Trump himself hailed what he called a tremendously productive meeting, saying he had strengthened the U.S. ties with long-standing partners.
Yemen is struck by a cholera outbreak, making more difficult the already terrible daily battle of its people.
This is the second round of epidemic in less than a year. Since April 27 of this year, Yemen's Ministry of Health and Statistics report 50,000 affected and suspected cases in 19 out of 22 provinces and 478 deaths. With infrastructure and a health system devastated by a 2-year-old war and economic crisis, the country faces yet another crisis of a different nature.
Yemenis are staring at yet another public health crisis in the making. Health authorities, UNICEF and WHO, along with existing health and WASH partners, are trying their best possible to respond to the crisis. But the scale is on an increasing trend, and certainly this time the outbreak is much more aggressive than the last wave, which was witnessed in October 2016.
Welcome to Lifestyle Stories from Continental Europe. Today, all eyes on Cannes and its annual film festival. In entertainment, the concert of Bruno Mars in Zurich, Switzerland, and a tour of an exceptional chalet in the picturesque village of Rossinière in Switzerland. Let's start today's program with a trip in the south of France to its sunny and stunning city of Cannes and its renowned annual film festival. Here's Vanessa Sinamban with this report.
Nous sommes ici au 70e Festival de Cannes, où l'industrie du cinéma se rassemble afin de célébrer le cinéma du monde entier du 17 au 28 mai. Et voici les actualités de cette année.
One of the reasons the world is fascinated with the Festival de Cannes is the red carpet fashion. Some of the women that made it on several best dressed lists were actress Elle Fanning in a handcrafted Vivienne Westwood gown, supermodel Kendall Jenner in a Giambattista Valli couture gown with a long flowing train, and Ash Warrior in a voluminous Cinderella-like gown by Filipino designer Michael Cinco. Netflix had 2 highly anticipated feature films that premiered and resulted in some controversy and protest. The 2 films are Okja, starring Tilda Swinton, and The Meyerowitz Stories with Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller. This is the last year Netflix will be allowed to premiere their movies at Cannes, unless its films will be screened at French cinemas soon after the festival.
Well, I think it's kind of exciting because it's got us so much publicity. I think people will know more about Okja and the Meyerowitz story before they leave this Cannes. And, you know, I believe I don't want to be political surrounding the issue, so I look at the positive part of it. The positive part is that both sides are right, and both sides are supported in regard to, French people should be able to see a film that is premiering at the Palais in Cannes in their movie theaters.
Now, here are the winners of the Festival de Cannes. This year, there are 5 Filipino films being shown in the short film corner at the Festival de Cannes. Films like Ayo Ayo, written by Aliyah Rojo, directed by Rina Dunque, is about a boy from the province who moves to Metro Manila for college and the challenges that come with it.
Padulong na ako dorm.
Amo ba?
Kaamo din nama.
Okay naman mi din eh. Gimingaw na na nagsuon sa imo. Pati mong papa.
Macau, directed by Irving Ballarmino and Noel Escondo, is centered around Bating, a 10-year-old boy who steals an elderly woman's wallet. That will start a chain of events, and that will change the lives of 5 people forever. Jodelurx de la Cruz, Employee of the Month, was one of the 10 finalists for the Semaine de la Critique, or International Critics Week, out of more than 4,000 short films submitted this year. I had a chance to meet the director, Carlo Francisco Manatad, on the awards night. Another film he worked on as the editor, the Chinese film A Gentle Night, won the Palme d'Or for Best Short Film.
The film is about this girl, played by Angeli, which her name is Jodelurx. She's always the Employee of the Month, but what if at this very day the gas station is actually closing down? It's a day in the life of this gasoline attendant. What does she do during this night? I met the director in one of the festivals that I attended in France, Clermont-Ferrand. It's like the biggest short film festival in the world. I was also the editor for one of the films he produced last year, also a Chinese film, His Good Friend. A film gets stronger and stronger, especially if there's a collaborative effort, not only within the country, but more specifically like Southeast Asia or even Asia or even the world. And it's a different approach in terms of how you actually have these kinds of films that collaborate and you see the end result, and the end result is actually a good one.
From the Festival de Cannes, I am Vanessa Sinamban and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Vanessa. Now, do you like Bruno Mars? Then let's hear from Yvonne Thomas on what's up in Zurich for Bruno Mars fans.
Hello, I'm Yvonne Thomas and I'm standing here in front of the Hallenstadion in Zurich, where many famous artists perform. Let us find out who is going to perform tonight.
The Hallenstadion in Zurich, where the event has been taking place, has a maximum capacity of 15,000 people. The arena is located in Oerlikon, about 5 kilometers from the heart of Zurich city. It can be reached by various means of transportation. As the fans were very excited to see Bruno, they have already lined up many hours before the actual time just to get the best place in the crowd and of course to be very close to Bruno Mars. As music plays through the speakers, getting everyone excited for the first band to come on, the event has started with the opening band of Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals. He is an American R&B singer, rapper, songwriter, and record producer from Oxnard, California. With a great 45-minute program, he increased the excitement of the people in the hall. The world-famous Grammy winner and Platinum-awarded entertainer Bruno Mars has introduced his new album, the 24K Magic World Tour, in Zurich, Switzerland. This is already his third concert in the Hallenstadion Zurich, which is totally sold out. The 24K Magic World Tour has begun from the end of March to the middle of June 2017. It will be held in various countries in Europe. Afterwards, he will continue in North America. Bruno Mars performed not only songs from his latest album, 24K Magic, but he also sang some of his most famous songs of the old album, like Treasure, Uptown Funk, or Just the Way You Are. Along with being a great singer, he is also known for his showmanship, which makes him a very entertaining stage performer, as fans always sing along to his songs.
Chorus for me one last time. I'm gonna start it off and then Zurich, I'm gonna give it to y'all. Matter of fact, I wanna see everybody. Put the lights up. When I see you.
From the Hallenstadion here in Zurich, I am Yvonne Thomas and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Yvonne. Let's now go through the Swiss mountains to discover a traditional chalet of outstanding beauty. Here's Theodoline Baisa for this report.
Hi everyone! Switzerland is not only known for its chocolate and cheese. It is also known for its wooden houses called chalet. And today we're going to discover one of the largest habitable chalet here in Switzerland, the Grand Chalet. The Grand Chalet is located in the beautiful village of Rossinière, in the canton of Vaud. The village is known for its cultural heritage of charming wooden houses. The Grand Chalet is Rossinière's most famous chalet. It's a National Swiss Heritage Site that was built between 1752 and 1756. For Jean Devin Henshaws, a farmer, notary, and judge who wanted to create a house to store and commercialize cheese. It's also served as a hotel for some time, with guests such as Victor Hugo. In 1977, the painter Balthus bought a Grand Chalet where he and his wife, the Countess Setsuko Koloska de Rola welcomed guests from high society, celebrities, famous artists, poets, and writers. The family still reside in the chalet. The Grand Chalet of Rossinière is grand because of its size and artistic details. The chalet, with its 500 meters of ground surface, has 5 floors and no less than 113 windows. Its wooden architecture, extensively carved facade, and painted inscription containing 2,800 letters make it an impressive example of refinement and artistic craftsmanship. And that's the end of our tour today. I am Chodeline Baisa, your EBC correspondent from Gstaad, Switzerland, and I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Theodolin. For more lifestyle stories from continental Europe, join us again next time. I'm Christine Benedicto, and I'm 1 with 25. Up next, sports.
Hi, I'm Alban Redzepi for Sports News. In tennis news, Stan Wawrinka defeated Misha Zverev 4-6, 6-3, 6-3 in the final of the Geneva Open. For Wawrinka, born in the nearby city of Lausanne, it was the second year in a row that he has won the tournament. After dropping the first set, Wawrinka came back strong to win the next 2 sets, sealing the win with a powerful forehand shot. The victory was the first title for the Swiss player in 2017. After some struggles playing on clay courts earlier this year, the Geneva Open win gives Wawrinka a boost of confidence before French Open play begins. He enters the upcoming Grand Slam tournament as the number 3 seed and is set to play Joseph Kovalik of Slovakia in the first round. In cycling news, Tom Dumoulin became the first Dutchman to win the Giro d'Italia. The Giro d'Italia is one of the 3 premier races in European road cycling. The other 2 races are the Tour de France and the Vuelta a España. Together, the 3 races are called the Grand Tours. Dumoulin began the final stage 53 seconds behind the leader Nairo Quintana of Colombia. But after a strong start, the Dutchman pulled away and ended the race 31 seconds ahead of Quintana, who finished in 2nd place. Vincenzo Nibali came in 3rd place and Thibaut Pinot finished in 4th place. Up next for Dumoulin is the Tour de Suisse, which takes place from June 10 to June 18. Formula 1 came to the glitzy streets of Monte Carlo, and there was no shortage of drama as Sebastian Vettel claimed Ferrari's first victory in Monaco since 2001, although in controversial circumstances. There was drama and tantrums in qualifying, with Lewis Hamilton only starting in 13th place and the surprise pole position of Kimi Raikkonen. The narrow streets and wider cars made it nearly impossible for overtaking, so it was left to the careful planning of pit stops where positions would be decided. And the drama came when race leader Kimi Raikkonen was unexpectedly called into pit first, allowing teammate Sebastian Vettel to grab the lead. That's it for today's sports news. This is Alban Redzepi and I am 1 with 25.
That is today's Eagle News International. Join us again next time as we bring news that matters to you.